Hello everyone and welcome back to Eve Market, your weekly look at the amarr market. We're just gonna start straight off with the market. Gonna straight off go on titanium. That's where we're gonna start off. Yeah, sitting on the month. Titanium is beginning of the week it went a little bit down, just below the 510, starting to crawl back up towards about 520. But then all the days after that, we started to go up again on price, heading towards a 550. Getting close to that on the Saturday. Here on the Sunday, we're sitting slightly lower at the Saturday still, so it may even go a little bit down on next week. It's just going small ups and downs, what it keeps doing already for a while. But on average, we mainly are not going not that high up again and dropping a little bit more. But it hasn't done that really here. It gets the lowest around to 520 with the lines, and now the prices are now then a little bit lower, but it's not getting really much lower. It's just starting to go back up again. It is going a little bit between the 510 for most of the time, and between the 560. It's starting to get a little bit low towards the 550. So it's sitting mainly between that range of price. 5.61 for the sellers, 5.23 for the buyers, slightly lower than last week's price. That is 5.34, so we have a small drop in the price here. Now we have ferrite. Ferrite is pretty much stable around 950. We see a slight uptrend here in the price from yesterday on Saturday. It's slightly higher on the Sunday, but that's really too early to say what the average price is going to be here for the whole day. We're sitting most of the week sitting just above the 950. It seems really stable here. But we see that now the average prices on the days are getting a little bit higher here and there. So we may see soon a little bit of a price increase for ferrite. And also sales here has been pretty high, but that made the price drop to the 9 is per unit. It's not really clear where we're gonna go here. I think that we're gonna see maybe a slight increase in price. We can always see here the 20-day average slightly going up. We can maybe see an increase, or we can also maybe go down. 9.95 for the sellers. There are big sizes up here. There's a lot of ferrite on the market. Here, there are only a few smaller ones. The rest is all in easily. This is 70 million, 90 million, 73 million, 80 million. It's a whole load of titanium on the market here. For the buyers, 9.45. That is an increase in price. 9.24 was last week's price, so the price is already starting to go up slightly. But there are some big order up here of 100 million. The rest is not really huge orders. And we have Maxilon. Maxilon has been beginning of the week pretty stable, but then still we make a drop in price towards the 65 per unit, just staying above it even. I don't know why we had a drop, because I see now the Sunday price already back up towards a normal price, towards the 70 again. It's just we've seen suddenly a drop in price for Maxilon, but also straight away recovering again. There's not even a change really here, but there was some big sales here on Maxilon that made the price the next day still the same, but then the days after it also the average price dropped. So people may be selling it and there were not enough new buy orders came up, but the price made it drop. And now those orders got maybe fulfilled, or new ones came in, and we're going back towards a normal price around the 70 per unit. That could be it. But clearly we are getting back towards a normal price around the 70, so expecting that we're gonna stay on there. 71.76 for the sellers and 76.21 for the buyers. That is a lower price than last week. 69.25 was last week's price. We clearly see a drop here in the price for Maxilon. Oxygen is sitting in a really big range on prices. It is jumping up pretty decently. It's sitting a bit between, let's see, 84 and 82 on average price, with now and then a high spike here. There was a big spike yesterday. There's a really high average price above the 88 even. for that. And we see here even a lower price below the 81 on average price. It's really unclear what ICing is doing. It was going down for a while, but you can clearly see this week it's been staying around the same price. So same region between the 84 and the 82, with now then a little bit lower. It's not really gonna say on the 20-day average. You look, it's not going down really anymore, but they're also not going up. It's time to find a new spot, or we're gonna see soon an increase in price, or maybe another drop. If you look at the 6 month, we are currently really low on price, and we are starting to stabilize here. So I think we have hit about the lowest price we can get on oxygen. So expecting this one gonna stay a little bit around this maybe, or it's time to go up. One of those two it's gonna do on pretty soon. 80.56 for the sellers and 81.77 for the buyers. There is already a slight increase in that price, because last week's price was 81.41. So the price is already starting to go slightly up on the buyer side. Then Noxidium, if I get any data, there we go. Noxidium, big sales here. Oh yeah, like twice, 2.5 times more than normal. Not really had a huge impact on the price. We see a slight increase in the price here. And then a day after that we see suddenly a much lower price, below the 420 on average even. Yesterday again we're going up towards the 460, for the day sitting slightly lower. It is sitting basically between the 420 and the 460 in price range. It has been sitting here for like 2 weeks now. The week after that we're sitting more towards the 470 even, and the 420. It's staying pretty stable between the same lines for the prices. Going slightly up, going slightly down, not really any big changes. Expecting this also to stay like this about for the next week at least. 458.42 for the sellers and 429.61 for the buyers. That went up in price. Was last week's price 426.13. So we're definitely seeing an increase in price for Noxidium. I cannot really get it. It's, yeah, we have this high prices. This maybe only a short period high prices, and then we may be going back again. But I don't expect this really starting to go up soon. Then Megasite. Megasite is starting to go up in price. Clearly at the beginning of the week we're sitting, it was already pretty unstable between the above the 1500 and just above the 1350. We can see now an increase starting to cut clearly for a few days above the 1500 per unit. It's been there for like, well, this is maybe just below, but 1, 2, 3, 4 for even for today. But today we're sitting slightly lower. But I cannot really tell where this one is gonna go. The price is was pretty normal here, around the 1450, 1500. But we can maybe see an increase suddenly of Megasite. We'll see in a bit when we look at the amounts that's on the market. We can clearly see that we're going up, even the 20 days going up. So yeah, if we look at this, we can clearly see there is not too much on the market. It's only one. Cannot even scroll here on the sellers. There's some big sizes here, over 1 million. So yeah, there's a lot of price difference. So we can maybe see definitely an increase in the price on Megasite. For the sellers, 1512. For the buyers, 1401.40 for the buyers. I skipped, by the way, Zynrid. I've got that one. We'll do that one after this. This is a clear increase of Megasite. Price 1265 was last week's price. We're clearly starting to go up in price for Megasite again. I think this if this supply stays this low, we're definitely going to see more of an increase on the price of Megasite in the upcoming week. We'll do Zynrid now, because I completely forgot that I need to wake up. Zinewit is really stable for the whole week. It's sitting pretty much on the same price. Slight movements, not a lot. It was a little bit lower here, just above the 1200. Staying pretty much around the same price for the whole week. Not really any changes to that, except for today. We're sitting already on halfway the amount on the normal sales amount for today. But also for today, it's sitting low below the 1200 too. So, Zinewit is currently really stable. 1119 for the sellers and 1167 for the buyers. That is an increase in price. 1146 was last week's price. So also seeing a small increase here in the buyer's price. Then Morphyte. Morphyte has still stopped dropping. There's now then points that it's getting really low, right, around the 10,000. But Morphyte seems to be more stabilizing around 12,000 per unit. We do see a huge sale here on the Saturday. Really big sales, like 3-4 times the normal amount. Had any influence on the market? No, not really. It's sitting out 11,500 on that day on average. So yeah, it did not have really that much of an influence. But it has just drops towards 10,000, then straight away the next day going back up to 12,500. Mainly it's sitting basically between 11,500 and 12,500 where it's going to sit on at the moment. 20-day average is starting to slow down on the drop, so I don't expect Morphyte to go down anymore, and think we're gonna get a new prices for Morphyte. It's gonna be stabilized on, so Morphyte is clearly getting more expensive. Yeah, 7 units. 12,445.43 for the sellers. For the buyers, we drop below the 10,000. 9,869.35 for the buyers. That is lower than last week, that it was sitting still at 10,013. I do see still a drop on the buyers. Oh wow, I'm typing wrong. Alright, so we see a drop on the price on the buyers still. It's not a huge drop. There's still pretty normal size orders up. There's one bigger one here for 100,000 units, 60,000 units there. There's some big size up. These can get fulfilled pretty quickly. And yeah, I think we're gonna get a new price range for Morphyte between the 11.5 and the 12.5. So that were the look at the minerals. We're gonna look at some regular salvage here in this neighborhood. We're only at 30 minutes. I'm going pretty quick today. Armor plates has been slightly going up in the beginning of this week, and then for most of the week it's been sitting around 66,000 per unit. We've seen a slight drop here on the Saturday, a slight increase for today, but it's currently really stable around the 66,000 and not moving too much. We can clearly see in the sellers prices we have a bigger of a range. I say here because we're sitting higher. We may see an increase in price, but then again here on Saturday and Sunday we're seeing a pretty low price too. So basically I think more is going to stay around the same price it is sitting now. It's not really going to move too much. Seller's price, we always go more than 500 units. 72,120, I round this price up for the sellers, and 65,002 for the buyers. That is a drop in price. 67,100 was last week's price, so clearly it's starting to still drop here in price. It's dropping quite rapidly. I need to get rid of mine armor plates. So it is dropping quite rapidly in price. There's not too many buyers anymore. The amount of buyers are starting to decrease here. So expecting that we're going to see pretty more of a drop in price on armor plates. But logic circuits on the other hand has decided to go the other way. It has been pretty stable for the rest of the week. It's seen a slight increase and then a drop. But I can clearly see Sunday for the Saturday and for today we're seeing a pretty steep increase in price of burn logic circuits. We already saw a quick look at the market. Yesterday average price was 60,000. That's an average price. For the day we're already heading for the 62 with the highest price already above 64. closer to 65,000 per unit already. It's been sold or bought today. So we clearly see an increase suddenly in burn logic circuit prices. We're gonna see definitely increase more in this week. How much it's gonna be is the next question. Yeah, look at the 3 months. We're already pretty high on prices. Yeah, we see like 6 months ago about it was hitting almost the 70,000 per unit. We had an increase here. Let's go quickly for a year check. Yeah, I think we're definitely gonna maybe head towards the 70,000 or maybe even higher, because we came here in beginning of the year, about a year ago at least, we're sitting about 37,000, with a pretty quick increase in a half a year time towards the 70,000. Then we make a pretty steep drop towards the 45,000. We didn't make it towards the normal price here about a year ago. After that, it's starting to increase again, stay pretty stable, and now we're starting clearly to go back up again. So we may gonna head towards the 70,000 again, or even higher. But at least clearly it's starting to increase pretty quickly on price. Not too many on the market, not a lot of supply, a lot of sellers. 64,989 on the sellers and 61,000 for the buyers. That's clearly going up 56,200 was last week's price, so we're going up pretty rapidly on price here. No records yet, but if this keeps on going like this, we're definitely gonna have record prices next week, for sure. Then we have Friday interface circuit. It's starting to do the same, but a little bit later on. It's only for today. We're seeing on the average price a lot higher. We're seeing for most of the week below the 2,000 even per unit. Then we can clearly see for the, let's see, Sunday, Saturday, Friday. Thursday we're sitting at the 2,000. Friday we're already above the 2,000. Also for the Saturday above the 2,000. And then we see suddenly a rapid increase for today's price, about 4,200. So also this Friday interface circuit is starting to go up pretty quickly suddenly. Then again, we're sitting really low on price here. So it's suddenly rapidly moving up, maybe back towards a normal price, or even increase. So if you bought in like the last month a load of this, hold on to it, because we're gonna see an increase in price and you may make a good profit out of it by selling it again. Sellers. There are really not a lot of sellers. This just over 1,600 units. It's nothing. And there's a pretty big size here, but we're gonna see a pretty big increase in price really soon here, because this is currently, it's more than 500 units. It's 4,444 currently for the sellers. But if this one is getting fulfilled, I can like say buy this, put it back on the market. You know what? We're gonna do it here right now. I'm gonna buy this straight away here. Just watch me doing this. It's above regional average. I know. Gonna kill it right now, live here. Oh yeah, I use probably the market. You're gonna do it right here. Gonna sell it. Gonna put it back on the market. Oh yes, there's something wrong with that. It's not popping back always. I'm gonna put it back on. 4,750 back on the market. There. So we're going up in price for the sellers. 49,750 for the sellers. For the buyers, 2,757. Last week's price was sitting flat at 2,000, so we clearly see on the buyer side already going up in price. Also pretty rapidly, because last week's price was 2,000, was in between these two. You see pretty rapidly people setting up large orders and really going up in price. So we see an increase in price for Friday interface circuits, and this is also expecting to go up next week. Melted capacitor consoles, almost pressing the wrong tab for my orders. Ow! We've seen a drop in price here. It's been so stable, just below the 7,500 for such a long time, or sitting at the 8,000. But you can see here already starting to drop it from last week even. We saw a slight drop. It's even gonna keep on going now, surprisingly, because we're seeing a drop here heading towards the 6,500 and even lower for today already. So there has been some sales for multi-capacitor consoles, but you can clearly see we're starting to make a drop in multi-capacitor consoles. So if you still have a load now for buying in cheap, I should think about maybe selling it, because it is starting to drop in price, and I don't know how big the drop is gonna be. But if you look at that, 7,400 to currently about 6,300, 6,200, so it's already more than 1,000 drop in average price on the day. So yeah, definitely starting to drop here in price. Mainly not many buyers. Sellers are responding to that, starting to drop the price. 6,950 currently for the sellers. We're sitting at 5,000 for the buyers. Last week's price 7,250, so we're clearly starting to see a drop here in price and maybe heading back towards an old price. So power surge in all that did make this whole week still a pretty big drop, very low price, below the 13,000 per unit. This week last week we're sitting around here. Let's see if, yeah, around here was last week's price. But it went even further down this week, and the lowest we got was not even this week, that was before it, even below the 12,000. We can clearly see it's starting now suddenly rapidly moving up in price and even beating all the prices this month already for today. Above this 17,000, 17,500 currently for the price. I also gonna expect this one to keep on going up on the next week, and we're gonna see new high prices here on trip pauses because it's going rapidly up. Really, and this is definitely gonna go up for the next week. There are still not too many buyers, but there's still decent size orders. For the sellers, 20,900, even 2 orders up for that. 20,900 for the sellers and 16,000, slightly above it, for the buyers. Last week's price 14,100. That was a record bottom price, but that we're not gonna make it this week. Then we have one more to go. It is the 30-day Plex. Plex is starting to increase in price again this week. I don't know if the Plex sales has stopped, but we see also a small drop here on the week. But we are clearly going up. We got the highest 910, slightly above it. Then we made a slight drop on the Friday and on the Saturday. Even below the 900 million, but clearly for today we're sitting already back up above the 910 million for a Plex. Seller's price 950, more like 951 for the sellers. For the buyers, 890.2 million is for the buyers, and that's an increase in price compared to last week's price. 869.1 million is for the buyers, so we definitely increased in price on that. Well, we still ended up like 24 minutes. If on the stay, we can take a quick look at what we have. No, I haven't sold anything yet. It will sell. This was this week's look at the amarr market video. Next week I will have a video. I think I'm not gonna be away yet. I think I'm not gonna be the whole vacation away on the fair, because we're playing a hell of a lot of. You probably have seen it, Photograph Evolve. I'm gonna test today out if you can set up a server even. I may gonna be less away, but I will take a break a little bit on the videos, also having a little bit more of a holiday for myself, of course. So next week we will have a video. That's gonna be for now the last one. Then I'll have a small break, about 2 to 3 weeks on this at least, because I also can be away on Sundays on my holiday. So next week one more video, then we have a small holiday on this, so you'll still see me next week. So thanks for watching and fly safe.